Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. All right, rock stars. Let's see what's first story up. R. Kelly's meltdown on Good Morning. No, it wasn't Good Morning America. It was CBS This Morning with Gayle King. We all saw the clips on Instagram. Yesterday morning, they released an interview or clips of an interview that Gayle King did with R. Kelly. It was his first sit down since he had been arrested on a number of charges having to deal with sexual abuse, child pornography, pedophilia. All of that is wrapped up in this case. He's out on bail. And I don't know what lawyer he has, but if that lawyer okayed him to do that interview, then that lawyer needs to be fired. Okay, actually, I bet you that lawyer advised him strongly not to do this interview, and R. Kelly went on ahead and did it anyway. Something is truly wrong with R. Kelly. I don't believe that R. Kelly believes he's done anything wrong. You know, sometimes after you've done wrong for so long and you, in your mind, you begin to believe the lie. And I think that that's where we are with R. Kelly. I mean, that interview that we only saw clips of, they're going to show the entire interview in full on Friday evening. I'm really honestly tired of this whole R. Kelly thing. I hope the families can get back in touch with their girls and bring them on home. Something tells me that them girls are going to be done with their family, even if R. Kelly goes to jail and they have to be forced to be back on their own. The fact that they are so, some people say, brainwashed and are so upset with their families for bringing all these problems into their lives, you know, Azriel and Joycelyn both say they are very happy with R. Kelly. And that the family is just trying to get money from him. I think it's clear that R. Kelly doesn't have any money. I told you guys last week that he couldn't even get out of jail. They had to have a friend who's a daycare owner bail him out. Now, she did say that that money was not hers. We're not sure where that money come from. I don't know if he has money stashed, but it doesn't seem like he does anyway. But yet and still, getting back to this interview. He unraveled very quickly and got to the point where he was screaming, yelling, crying, jumped up out of his seat, you know, you guys are ruining my life. I did not do this. In his words, how much sense would it make, guys? This makes no sense. Yeah, to the normal person, it wouldn't make sense. So we are all trying to wonder why you continued on with doing the things that you do, knowing that people were watching. I guess because he had gotten away with it so long. Yeah, snotting, crying, yelling, screaming, to the point that his publicist had to get out there like, okay, R. Settle it on down, you know. But he never settled down the entire time, even when the makeup artist was trying to get, you know, the sheen back off his face from all that carrying on. You know, he was like, well, where's the camera? Is the camera on me? I would not do that. How much sense does that make? Okay. We all know that R. Kelly loves the, you know, he has a flair for the dramatic. Okay, we cannot forget that whole trapped in the closet thing. Actually, parts of this interview reminded me very much of that bizarre video concept that he had. What was he calling it? Like a hip-hop opera or something like that? Anyway, yeah, he's unraveling. Okay, I think we saw it yesterday. I told you guys that they were going to get him, and so it's just it's starting to happen. After he did after the interview aired, then he was supposed to report to the courts to settle this issue with child support. And I guess he owed $190,000 to his ex-wife, and he hasn't paid it. Well, in the interview, he said he's not able to pay his child support because he can't work, okay? Because he's dropped from his label, because everybody is besmirchifying his name, and he's not able to get out there. And that may be true. He probably is not making the money that he used to make. Somebody told me that he doesn't have the rights to his music any longer. I don't know if that is true or not, but that's also floating around in the atmosphere. And yeah. So explains why he couldn't bail out, explains why he can't pay his child support, explains why he is back in jail. The judge said if you ain't got the 190 And then you going back to jail, cuz. And that's where he is now. They're saying that they expect to get the money rounded up by, you know, in the next few days. But until then, he has to sit in jail. But it's just, it is what it is. We're watching it. They're definitely going to take R. Kelly down. Now, like I said, the two girls that are living there with him, he described them as his girlfriends. Okay, both of them. And we saw even a video of, I believe it was Joycelyn's family who had, I don't know if she called them or they called her, or the call was arranged some sort of way, but she is explaining to her family that she's happy and that she wishes that they would stop. Okay, there was a family member there. I don't know if it was her sister or if it was a cousin, or, you know, but a young girl who came on the line and was just like, I love you, you know. And it would pause Joycelyn. She probably did not expect for that to happen, but all these strange pauses in between the conversation, not sure if she was trying to get herself together on the other end or if she was being coached. That is what some people are saying. But yeah, I mean, I don't really know. As far as those two girls are concerned, the families can keep on saying that they've been brainwashed, and I don't know legally how they can get them girls out of that house. But like I said, if R. Kelly is indeed going to jail eventually, those girls are going to have to leave and, you know, fend for themselves and be back on their own some kind of way. But yeah, I don't know if I feel like it's going to be the happiest of endings. Maybe the parents just want them out of that house. But, you know, I just don't know how deeply R. Kelly might have reached into those girls where they may never want to have anything to do with their parents again. So, we'll see. But in the meantime, that's what's going on with R. Kelly. Like I said, they are going to air the entire interview. They said it was over an hour long. It's going to be coming on CBS tomorrow. It was funny when Gayle King got back into the studio and she was talking to her co-host on the show. One of the ladies was like, you know, weren't you afraid? You know, excuse me, you know, that R. Kelly was going to do something to her. And Gayle King was like, no, I never felt like he was coming after me. I mean, you know, I might have accidentally been clobbered by the fact that he was swinging his arms around, but no, I didn't feel like he was going to do anything to me. And I was like, see, no white woman could have done that interview. Okay, because immediately they would have been afraid. And, you know, Gayle King is just like, no, we used to niggas acting like this in our own damn family. Okay, just cutting the fuck up. Hell, they ain't mad at me. So, you know, I ain't did nothing. So, no, there was nothing for her to be afraid of. And I didn't ever feel like R. Kelly was going to do anything to her. And that's why she sat there. She conducted a very calm, and she did let him speak. Now, was he speaking? Was he screaming? Was he like a lunatic almost? Some people will say he was passionate. Other people said he looked crazy. Maybe it was a little bit of all of that, but yeah, it's happening, y'all. He's going down definitely for sure. Will you guys be watching the special again Friday night CBS? You guys give me opinions on it. Leave it in the comments section below. Alright, you guys, yesterday when I got home from work, I was saddened to see that Alex Trebek, 78 years old, announced on a video that he released on his social media that he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And how my heart was broken. One, because I know that pancreatic cancer, normally you don't even find out you have pancreatic cancer until it's too late. I had an uncle who died from pancreatic cancer. It strikes and then, or at least it's been in your body for some time, but by the time you know, that is usually when your life is in decline. He's 78 years old. Alex Trebek looks fantastic. Had no idea that he was that old. You know, a few years ago he had fallen, remember, or something like that, and he had a brain injury. And people were thinking that he was going to be leaving the show then, but he bounced back. And bounced back strong. So, like he said, he's going to be fighting this disease. And he's hoping that, you know, the support of his doctors, his family, the love from them, you know, the prayers of everybody that watches him, hopefully he can beat this. But, he says the prognosis is not the best. I was heartbroken, though, because Jeopardy, that show's been on, they said, since 1984. My parents watched that show religiously. When I tell you they watched Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy every single weekday. Okay, and even if it came on the weekends, my parents was watching that show. So I feel like I grew up with Alex Trebek. And yeah, it's just I was sad for him, but he seemed like he was in good spirits. He said he's gonna continue working on the show. You know, I'm supposing until, I mean, I don't want to be negative, but he said he's gonna continue working on the show. We are definitely going to send up a prayer too for Alex Trebek. Hopefully he can beat this cancer. I tell you, fuck cancer. And then, hell, since I'm on sad stories, let's send up a rest in peace to Luke Perry. Many of you guys knew him as Dylan McKay on the 10-season series, Beverly Hills 90210 back in the 90s. That was the show to watch. Most of you guys who are around my age, you know, 30s, 40s, that was your show to watch. This younger generation will know him as Fred Andrews from the hit TV show Riverdale. And yeah, last Friday I believe it was, he had suffered a stroke. And I remember seeing it on Entertainment Tonight. You know, they said he had a stroke in his home in Sherman Oaks, California. You know, and they had called the ambulance and they had taken him to the doctors. And, you know, people were reaching out and saying, you know, Luke pulled through everything. You know, they're praying for him and everything. I just never felt like somebody who was 52 years old was going to actually die from this stroke, but that's exactly what happened. 5 days later, we found out that the stroke was not a minor stroke. It was a massive stroke. Strokes take over, you know, they kill, the oxygen kills your brain cells, and certain areas of your brain that are attacked from strokes, you know, you lose that function. And if it takes over too many parts of your brain, then you can't recover. They said that the doctors had him in a voluntary, I guess, coma so that he could, I don't know if that's the right word, voluntary, but you guys know what I mean. They had him under a coma so that his brain could recover, but his brain never recovered. The damage was too extensive, and he never ever came to. I guess they said when they picked him up from his house, he was actually talking and responsive, but deteriorated quickly. And yeah, 5 days later, he did die. I was so shocked. I did not expect the boy to die. I was like, damn. I mean, again, now he wasn't really part of my childhood. By the time 90210 was out, I was in college, and I actually didn't even really watch that show. But I remember everybody watching it. It was all over T-shirts. It was all over buttons and bags, and you know, I mean, you could not get away from Ally McBeal and 90210 and all of those shows that came on Fox at that time. So very, very, very sad. Now, the National Stroke Association warns that stroke is on the rise in younger adults, and that's for a number of reasons: health issues, high blood pressure, and other different things that attribute to that. But they say that it's a 44% increase in the number of young Americans hospitalized due to stroke over the last decade. So definitely something that we need to be aware of. You know, they said that anybody can die from a stroke. It doesn't have to be an older person, even children. I think they said that babies suffer strokes. That was part of like top 10 causes of death in babies under 2 was from stroke. And I definitely didn't know that. Luke Perry was divorced, but he leaves behind a daughter, Sophie Perry, and a son, Jack Perry. He has 2 sisters and a brother, many other family and friends, and a host of fans nationwide. I mean, definitely a case of gone too soon, but rest in peace to Luke Perry. Guys, next up, so they say that your boy Peter Thomas was trying to get on a plane, or was getting off the plane. He was in Miami International Airport, and the popos came and arrested that ass. Okay, they say that he was arrested on a fugitive warrant, and that down in Louisiana, which is the place that he's from, somewhere in Louisiana, he's bouncing checks left and right out there, writing fraudulent checks, and old boy out there in Louisiana was like, fuck you, pay me. So I guess since Peter hadn't settled whatever the debt was, they arrested him. Now, of course, Peter always maintains that the allegations of fraudulent checks was not real, was not true, and that he was going to be acquitted of any wrongdoing. But he sat in jail 6 days. Come to find out, it was over a $4,000 debt. He had written to some promoter or something down there in Louisiana. They said fraudulent checks, plural, so I'm not sure if he had written one check or a bunch. Yeah, I guess he thought he was getting away with it, you know, the person being down there in Louisiana and whatnots. But, no. All right, so he got his lawyer to settle the $4,000 debt. And once the $4,000 debt was settled, the DA's office said, okay, we will not pursue this any longer. And he was released yesterday. So Peter Thomas is home. He said that it was all a misunderstanding. Okay, yeah, misunderstanding, nigga. You didn't have the money in there. I mean, you guys paid the money, so definitely you knew you owed it. Or maybe he's trying to say that he didn't. But when you have a name behind you, you don't get away with certain things. So, you know, if you're out there writing checks, handle your damn bills so that you ain't got to go through this type of embarrassment. I saw a video of him that he posted last night, you know, how he's still shook from being in jail, which I'm sure he is. Jail is not for us, okay? Nobody wants to be restricted and have to be told when to go to bed and when to wake up and when to go to the bathroom and when to eat. And I mean, just your basic, you know, things that we take for granted. I guess it's an eye-opener. And I've had plenty of people that I've known that have gone to jail and said, man, that shit is not for normal people. Like, I knew once I got my ass up in there that I was not supposed to be there. So yeah, Peter had that type of reaction, and maybe he'll, you know, fly on the straight and narrow. I mean, there's stories about Peter here in Atlanta, but those are old stories. Hopefully he's, you know, not doing that kind of shit, you know, even if they are indeed true, you know, allegedly. Shout out to Alex. Mr. Thomas is home, back safe, okay, and probably won't take his freedom for granted any longer. And I'm sure he's glad that this has been brought to a close, okay? Take care of your business, Peter Thomas, and you won't be in this mess again. All right, you guys. So on March 4th, just as was promised, although I didn't know how much we should rely on this promise, considering Wendy Williams has pushed off her return date for maybe 3 times already. But so I wasn't really sure if she was going to make it back on March 4th. But lo and behold, they opened the stage doors and out walked Wendy Williams, who looked great. Okay, loved her wig. Somebody out there want to make that wig for me and send it to me, because I sure will take it. It was beautiful. The blonde, the little blunt cut. You know, I mean, Wendy has never been big and stuff. She's got big boobs or whatever, but you know, so she looked good, looked rested, looked ready to get back into her purple chair. And I was happy to see her there. Of course, everybody was wondering if she was going to address the issues with her husband. I never ever thought that Wendy Williams, because if anybody watches Wendy Williams out there, you know she does not address her personal shit on her show. And you know, of course, now people are saying, well, if she doesn't want to talk about what's going on with her and her husband, then she shouldn't talk about, you know, other people's marriages. Well, whatever. Okay, she's going to continue to do her job, and she's not going to address her personal shit. Well, what she did say was that, you know, she's Wendy Hunter. She's still wearing the ring, and until you guys don't see that fucking ring on her finger anymore, don't ask her shit about her marriage. I don't even really care one way or the other. I mean, there's enough stories out there about Kevin Hunter for us to know that he is not a good dude, okay? If she chooses to stay with her husband and he's doing whatever it is that he's doing, and then, child, what what they got to do with me? I don't care. Of course, I don't want to see anything happen to Wendy Williams. You know, if there are some domestic abuse things going on in that household, all I can say is hopefully she'll come to her senses and she'll leave him. Okay, but until then, child, I can't get myself worried about Wendy Williams and no damn Kevin Hunter. I just thought it was very interesting that she said, you know, I'm a hunter. Even though her stage name is Wendy Williams. But yeah, I don't care. I'm just glad that the woman, you know, that we see her and that she seems to be healthy enough to be back doing what she does. People are saying that they feel like her show's on its last leg. I honestly don't think that. Okay? She still has a legion of fans out there. For as many people who don't like Wendy Williams, there are a whole bunch of people who love her. So I still think she has some years left in her, as long as her health can stay okay and, you know, they can calm down all this other rumors and shit going around in the background, or whatever is going on in their personal lives. But hey, you guys never know. I mean, Wendy Williams could be fine with the fact that he has this wife, I mean this girlfriend, and that she's pregnant and having a baby, and I mean there could be an arrangement made there, because she's like, you know, marriages go through its ups and downs and ebbs and flows, and you know, things happen, and that's all very true. What it all boils down to is what you are willing to accept, all right, in your marriage. And if she's willing to accept that, then child, you know, I don't think I could go as far as accepting no you know, no mistress who's pregnant or having a baby and has a whole nother house and all. Yeah, though, that is doing too much. But I am not Wendy Williams. Hunter. Excuse me. Wendy Hunter. So, good to see her back. That's all I can say. Okay. What y'all thought? Did y'all watch it? What y'all think about old Wendy Williams? You think she's on her last leg? That the show is, you know, about to go asunder? Y'all let me know. Y'all listen to this story. So remember when, I don't know if I ever did the story on top of the blogs. I kind of feel like I did, but then something tells me that maybe I didn't. Anyway, remember the story a while back where there was a stepdaughter and her father who claimed that some panhandlers had killed her stepmother and his wife while she was trying to help a lady who was she pregnant and had a baby or something, a homeless woman. She was trying to help him, and they said that she was stabbed to death out there in Baltimore. Okay. I remember hearing that story. I thought the story was strange back then when it surfaced, only because, you know, I won't lie. There are a lot of mentally ill people who are homeless out there, but I won't say most, many of the homeless people out there are not aggressive or not violent, are not trying to harm you, especially if you are trying to help them. So I thought it was strange, especially when she said that they said it was a woman who was either pregnant or had a baby with her or something like that, that, you know, that they would do that to this woman who was trying to help them. I just thought the story was strange, but you know, I just was like, well, I mean, if I thought that they had caught the homeless person that they were saying. Evidently, no, the homeless person never was caught. And I wasn't the only person who thought the story was not true. Okay, the residents in that area, this was in Johnson, let me see. The area was in Johnston Square. Okay, and the people that lived there said they didn't believe it either because it's such a low traffic area. Not many cars pass through there, so it doesn't attract many beggars. Okay, because they wouldn't really even get anything over there. So the neighbors never believed it. The police evidently never believed it either. And now we find out that 52-year-old Keith Smith and his daughter Valeria Smith have been arrested for the murder of his wife, her stepmother, Jacqueline Smith. Okay, and just the craziest story. Now, originally when I heard the story that they were arrested, I thought that the daughter was her daughter, and I thought that he was her husband. So then I was like, oh, that sounds like that daughter might have been sleeping with, you know, her mother's husband. Okay, which is strange, but you know, shit like that happens. But then, no, once I read the story, I said, oh, that's his daughter. And she was Jacqueline's stepdaughter. So then I kind of nixed the whole sexual aspect of it. And I said, you know what, that sounds like a money grab. It sounds like there's some life insurance or something that these two are trying to get to. Because that's usually what happens. When you hear about family members killing someone, there's definitely some money involved there. And people in the Baltimore area said that the girl, Valeria, is that what I said? Valeria, she was trying to get a music career off the ground. She was trying to have a book published and get that out there. So she's known around the city. A lot of people say that she has lied to a lot of people in the city, including the mayor, and tried to put 20 on 10 and say she knew these people politically, and they're like, it's just a selfie. We was in the same area. She asked to take a picture, and then she started posting shit like she. So anyway, problematic with Valeria and Keith from the very beginning. So much so that Jacqueline's family never believed that she was killed by a homeless person. They always suspected that it was Keith and his daughter, and now they are relieved that them two have been arrested. But for the people that think that she's guilty, there are others that are saying, you know what, she's a pillar of the community and she's an inspiration, and they can't believe that she would do something like this as far as Valeria is concerned. So it looks like they're trying to separate her from the dad and saying that, you know, the dad may have been responsible for this death and that she was not involved. And that could very well be it as well. But the police was like, we're going to arrest every fucking body and then we'll figure it out, you know, once we get them behind bars. But you know, just sad. You know, when you get to the point where you can't trust your damn husband and, you know, your family members because they broke or they need a little cash, and now all of a sudden they want to kill you over some life insurance. I mean, that they haven't said that that's what it is, but I'm just thinking to myself like, child, I mean, this is craziness, right? So Jacqueline's family, they are glad that these two have been arrested. They have hired a law firm to handle Jacqueline's estate. So that right there lets you know that there's definitely money involved in this whole mess. And I mean, I guess hopefully justice will be served and that they will be able to figure out exactly who is responsible for what in this. But unfortunate that a woman had to lose her life over just, these people are really crazy out there. People are crazy out there. If we find out anything more about this story, you guys, I will definitely let you know. I'll keep my ear to the street. But yeah, shame on you, Keith and Valeria. And then lastly, in Quickies, congratulations to 48-year-old Tamron Hall, who is infanticipating. You guys, that is right. Not only is she waiting on, I think she was recently engaged. She's got a talk show, a daytime talk show that's supposed to be dropping sometime in the fall. But we find out that she's 32 weeks pregnant. She put it on her social media a couple of days ago, and good for her. She said that she never expected it to happen, didn't give any other information on whether or not, you know, it happened naturally, if there was some help involved. 48 years old, though, probably so. But either way it goes, the ending result is she has her baby that she wants and is excited about, and good for her and her fiance. Okay, it looks like 2019 is the year for Tamron Hall. People are upset that Will Smith is going to be playing Serena and Venus's daddy. What's his name? Richard Smith? Richard? I think it's Richard. Richard Williams. Okay. Where I get Smith? Because I said Will Smith, okay, and there's so many Smith stories today. But anyway, people are upset that Will Smith is going to be playing Richard Williams and wondering why the studio did not hire somebody else who looked more like him. Now, we have been through this 100 times before. I used to get upset. This shit kind of used to annoy me back in the day. But it happens so much now, it doesn't even matter. You know, it is definitely... the studios are concerned mostly, first and foremost, about money. Okay, and who is going to bring in the audience? Will Smith is a big name, so they didn't give a fuck if he looked like him or not. Okay, can you act like him? Bring him on in. And yeah, of course, I would wish that they would hire, because there's plenty of dark-skinned actors who could do the job as well. I think of Idris Elba, who I feel like could do that job and do it well. Okay, I saw that Idris Elba actually is taking over the character that Will Smith played in Suicide Squad. What is his name? Dead something. Anyway, why he couldn't take the Richard Williams role, y'all? But you know, like I said, Will Smith is a big name. These studios want the money, okay, and they're hoping that Will Smith will be the one to bring it in. So that's why we got that, and that's why we got light-skinned actors playing dark-skinned people and vice versa. And child, I can't worry no more about it. Plus size model Naomi Chaput, or Chaput, not quite sure how to say her name, but she was on her way to South Beach's Story nightclub the other day. She was invited by a promoter friend of hers, and while she was on her way there that evening, he texted her and told her, you know what, don't even come because Future is there that night. And he told the promoter, you know, no fatties. No fatties in the club. Now, you know, like I know, that everybody like a good damn time. Okay, fat, thin, tall, short, okay, young, old. You get a little bit of everybody in Story nightclub, I suppose. And Naomi should be able to go there just like any damn body else. So she was offended. So much so that I now hear that there is a lawsuit out. You know, people love to sue. Okay, but if there's money to be made, I guess why not? She feels like she was discriminated against. She's definitely pulled Future's name into this thing. Future is saying, you know, stop capping on his name. You know, he loves all women. We definitely know Future likes to fuck on all women. You know, whether or not he loves them is yet to be seen. But like I said, there's some lawsuit, and I guess if they can't get the shit settled financially, because that's probably what Naomi is looking for, at the end of the day, we'll see how that story goes. But child, so you don't like fatties up in your club, honey? They money spent just like anybody else's. Y'all better get with the times. Coco Charisse wanted me to tell you guys that it's the 20th anniversary of Britney Spears' first album. Hey, but for those of you guys who might care. And I guess while I'm on it, yesterday was the 30th anniversary for Madonna's Like a Prayer. I saw that on Entertainment Television, ET, or whatever it's called, last night as well. So, you know, good for the girls. I do like Britney Spears and Madonna, even though Madonna's walking around looking ridiculous with that damn junk in her trunk. But I do like them both, so I go on and throw them up in here, y'all. And then lastly, congratulations to... Oh, what happened? My shit is... Oh, it erased. I was gonna give y'all a fist pump of righteousness for the young girl who applied to like 30-something colleges and universities and it was accepted to all of them and got almost $1 million in scholarships. I don't know what her name is because it's not in my notes. Look, lastly, congratulations too. That's it. But damn, what happened to... Anyway, I'll put her name on the screen. It's good, always good to see our young people furthering their education, because even this day, even with entrepreneurism, and education is still very vital and very important. So congratulations to that young girl. Her future is very bright. Fist pump of righteousness for whatever her name is. Alright, you guys, and that is it. Let me get off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.